Welcome to the session. You're with me, Arun Sharma. I hope you can see my my video as well as the PowerPoint slides that I put up for the class today. I'm just waiting for opening this the broadcast on my other tab, other laptop, so that I can watch myself and confirm that things are going right. So this session is basically a strategy session for CAT 22, and of course the headline of the session is the 100 percentile headline. How do you get to 100 percentile? Hi Pramod and hi Shubhi. Good afternoon everybody. Raj, Pritam. Good afternoon everyone. So how do you do? What kind of strategy do you create to get to 100 percentile? Essentially, is it? If you think about 100 percentile, this seems to be it seems to be a very difficult and very challenging this thing, given the fact that only 12 people get 100 percentile. But I personally, whenever I talk about CAT preparation, I tell people to focus more on the CAT score rather than the CAT percentile. So my first advice to you is you have to focus on percentage, not percentile. And generally, focus on your percentage, focus on your net score. The percentile will take care of itself. If you can focus on your net score and create your net score, or make sure that your net score happens, your percentile will take care of itself. So you don't need to bother about the competition. You don't need to bother much about what others are doing. The percentile manages itself if you can manage your net score. और basic thumb rule जो है, basic thumb rule is basically nowadays CAT is a +3, -1, and a 0. A 0. This is the marking pattern of the CAT, so to say. Right? It's a marking pattern of the CAT. +3, -1 and 0. और +3, -1, 0 का मतलब basically है कि for right answer you get 3 marks. For a wrong answer to a theta question you get to a option based question you get -1 marks, and to a question which you don't solve, or type in the answer question, theta question, if you get it wrong also, you get 0 marks. So when I say take care of a net scores, I would like to talk about a story in terms of percentage scores. What percentage score are required at various percentiles. So what you notice, if you look at the CAT 17, 18, 19 papers, and first I'm talking about the 99 percentile story. Yeah, I'll also talk about working professionals. How do you manage your preparation? So I'm talking both about preparation strategy as well as time management, both in this session. So if you talk about a 99 percentile score in a 300 mark exam, the 99 percentile score was around 155, 160. That was the consistent pattern for the last 3 years before the CAT went into a 2-hour exam. This was the 3-hour exam. When the CAT moved to a 2-hour exam, out of 228 marks, the 99 percentile score shifted to around 100 marks. I have a specific recollection of around 99.8 percentile values score wise. 99.8 percentile in these papers was 180 out of 300. In the 200 mark paper, it was around 120 out of 200. 120 out of 228. Now let's just try to analyze this from the percentage score perspective. So if I calculate the percentage scores of CAT, if I calculate the percentage scores of CAT, at various percentiles. So this is 17, CAT 17, CAT 18, CAT 19, almost stable through 3 years. You can see that at around 52% marks, 52-53% marks, you are getting a 99 percentile net score with this scoring pattern. And at this point, you are now, if you look at the 2020 pattern, in the 2020 pattern, if you look at this is at 45%. Yeah, Shankar, I'm talking about your CAT prep strategies also from the perspective of college students. So you can see that this is a huge gap given the fact that 17, 18, 9 varied drastically in terms of difficulty levels. 18 was a very tough paper, 17 was a much easier paper, at least in quants, and 19 was standard paper, बीच का था दोनों से. तो उस context में the 99 percentile score didn't vary from 52% at all. 52, 53, 1% plus minus में चल रहा था 99 percentile. और suddenly 45% score पे 99 percentile हो गया. Look at 99.8 percentile also. It was consistently at 180 marks for the last 3 CATs. That means if you score 60% marks, you're getting 99 percentile. 99.8 percentile. और यहाँ पे the story change shifted to 54 percentile. Because 53%. So the percentage that was getting you 99 percentile in CAT 17, 18, 19, that gave you 99.8 percentile in CAT 20. Because 228 marks का पेपर था तो 114 पे तो 50% ही होता है. तो 114 पे 50% होता है, 6 marks more. That means 50 to 53% range ही है. Now, if you further try to think about the number of people that 99 percentile talks about, यहाँ पे 2000 people, I'm assuming a flat rate of 2 lakh people giving the CAT, although उससे थोड़ा कम होता है. तो 2000 people are getting 52% score. यहाँ पे only 400 people are getting 52% score. ऐसा क्यों हो गया? Right? So I'll talk about the batches and all coming up. Anurag, I'll just explain that to you. Good, you have reminded me about that. So this is a batch which is coming up on 24th November. I am also part of the batch Unlock 6 CAT 22. I take data interpretation, logical reasoning on Unacademy Plus. So मेरा data interpretation का foundation course start हो रहा है 24th November से. It's a morning 9 o'clock batch. 9 to 11 is what I'm taking weekdays. So it will be around a 22 hour program where I'm going to give you a foundation program in data interpretation. And then I'll be doing logical reasoning towards the end of next month. Maybe in some other batch या इसी batch में continue करेंगे. So these are the batches which are starting off now. And you have the 6 month, 12 month, 24 month subscriptions on Unacademy Iconic. And also you got the plus subscriptions available for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months and 24 months. These are prices, etc. for the 2022 CAT 12 months this thing. And we have a 10 days countdown series for CAT 21 app exam takers which is started from 18 November. So CAT syllabus revision हो रहा है उसमें section wise important concepts etc. And you can use the promo code Sharma CAT-alyst, that's my promo code, to register for any of these batches etc. And okay, so before I move on, let me come back to what I was talking about. So ऐसा इतना difference क्यों हुआ? This is a huge difference given the fact that for 3 years these percentages were almost consistent. Right? So, and hence, and when you talk about CAT 22, CAT 21 also in that sense, and CAT 22, what do you aim for? Do you aim for, if you're aiming for a 99.8 plus percentile, should you be aiming for 60% score or a 53% score? What score should you be aiming for? How do you look at the paper? So, the answer to that is that the story is not in the percentage score. The story is not inside this percentage score. That's not where the story is. The story is in the fact that if you try to identify the scoring rate per hour, if you try to identify the scoring rate per hour, you will realize that the scoring rate per hour is in 3-hour exam is around 52 here, and that scoring rate in a 2-hour exam is around 50. यहाँ पे it's around 60 marks per hour, and this is also 60 marks per hour. So you will realize that actually, if you talk about the scoring rate per hour, it does not change at all. So if you want to be, the message is very clear then. You want to be a You want to be a 99 percentiler in CAT, your average scoring rate has to be around 50 marks per hour. Hi Pramesh. Now, how do you get that in the different sections? We're going to come to that in the next part of this discussion. This session is around 45-50 minutes. I'm already done with, I think we are through with around 12-13 minutes now. So I'll continue for another half an hour, 35 minutes, and we'll talk about all the things that are required to be looked at inside this. So the 99 percentiler scores 50 marks per hour. The 99.8 percentiler has a scoring rate of around 60 marks per hour. The 100 percentiler, or can never be guaranteed of 100. So I'm talking about the band between 99.95, 96 to 100 percentilers. They would be scoring somewhere in the range of 70 to 75 marks per hour. Good to hear that, Pramesh. 70 to 75 marks. So just make sure that you buy the latest ones. Quants is 9th edition. DI and LR. DI is 7th edition, LR is 6th edition, and Verbal is 7th edition currently. So this is where the story of CAT is. And if you want to go below into the lower numbers, I can tell you the numbers there also. I can tell you the numbers in the lower zones also. And the lower zones के numbers जो हैं, they are at let's say at 95 percentile approximately is 30 marks, 40 marks per hour, and at 90 percentile it's around 30 marks per hour. And there'll be a huge dip in your percentile if you come down below 30 marks per hour to 20 marks per hour. Then your percentile will dip to 70 percentile, 65, 70 percentile. So this is the basic spectrum on which you're working. So broadly, if a person is solving on an average at 10% error rate, if a person is solving broadly at a 10% error rate, we are talking about solving around 28 questions per hour with 2-3 errors to hit this zone. We're talking about attempts of 28 questions per hour with 2-3 incorrects. यहाँ पे इस zone को hit करने के लिए we are talking about around 23 attempts with 2-3 incorrects. 23-24 attempts with 2-3 incorrects. You want to hit this attempt, this zone, you need to be attempting 20 with 2-3 incorrects. Right? If you want to hit this zone, you want to be attempting around 16 with a couple of incorrects. right? And if you want to hit this zone, you're on an average, you should be solving around 12, 13 with 2, 3 incorrects. So this is the broad spectrum in terms of how much you need to attempt. Because see, I always tell people that attempt you can control and the corrects you can control. These are two things you control. If you control these two things, your score controls itself, and if your score controls itself, your percentile controls itself. So don't try to control your percentile. Try to control your score. To control your score, you can only control your attempts and correct percentages. So this is where the whole game is, right? Those of you who are talking about LOD 1, LOD 2, LOD 3, Shrisha, LOD 3, LOD 3 you should solve. I mean, I typically recommend LOD 3 only on 6 chapters for solving. The others, there are 12 chapters in which there is LOD 3 in my book. So 6 chapters per I would recommend that you should solve LOD 3. Maybe once you finish your first round of LOD 1 and 2 and you are ready to go to LOD 3. मॉक्स के टाइम से के थोड़ा पहले आइडियली कर लेना चाहिए. So the chapters on which you should do LOD3 are averages, ratio proportion, number systems, progressions, functions and equations. These 6 chapters you should do your LOD3 on. ठीक है? So this is the game basically, and essentially if you then see in terms of the time per attempt. So obviously 100 percentile is difficult to achieve. So it must be difficult to keep an average 2 minutes per attempt. It might be easier to do 2.5 per attempt. Much easier to do 3 minutes per attempt. And much easier because obviously 10,000 people are able to maintain 5 percentile 5% people. That means 10,000 people are able to maintain 4 minutes per attempt. This thing. So the journey is basically to move down this thing. The faster you can become with respect to identifying your strong areas and solving questions and being able to get through the calculations, the better you become at becoming a 2-minute solver. So 100 percentile will be basically attempting a question every 2 minutes in the exam. That's the bottom line. Of course, you need the skills. It is not just कि target decide कर लिया और हो जाएगा. You need the skills, the ability, the confidence, the belief, and the execution on the D-Day. Before the D-Day, and of course execution is of course on the D-Day. The skills, the ability, confidence, and belief has to get formed over your preparation zones. Or your preparation timelines. So Shubhi is asking about covering math, from a non-maths background. We'll talk about that also, Shubhi. So how do we this thing? So what we'll do is, let's first focus on the Quant's structure. Now in Quant's, the reality is, as you all know, let's say this is the 99 percentiles skill level. This is the 99 percentile skill level. And this is the basic skill level. एक चीज और याद रखो. One very important this thing. It seems pretty intimidating. How do I get into the top 400 people in the country? How do I get into 99? If I am targeting 99.9 percentile, I have to be in the top 200 people in the country, etc. It seems very intimidating कि मैं top 200 में कैसे पहुंचूंगा. So and obviously it's difficult to reach the top 200, but I'll give you the shortcut to get there. The shortcut to get there is that if you're 99 percentile in quants, the CAT is 3 sections: QA, DILR, and verbal. So if you look at the 99 percentile score of last year, in quants it was around 45 marks. CAT 20 का बात कर रहा हूँ. In VA it was 45 marks, and DILR it was around 30 marks, 30 to 35 marks. तो अगर तुम 99 परसेंटाइल हिट कर देते हो तीनों सेक्शन में, तो यू ऑटोमेटिकली हिट 99.8 प्लस. क्वांट्स में 99.8 प्लस चाहिए तो 60 मार्क्स लाना पड़ेगा, विच इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू डू. You need to be a big expert at quants to be able to get 60 marks. Same with verbal. You need 60 plus to get a 99.8, 99.9 percentile. You need to be a big expert at that. But that's the story. If you can consistently be in the top 2000, to be overall in the top 400, you don't need to be in the top 400 in any section. You need to be the 2000th most skilled person in each of the three sections. And if you can do that, you are in shape to get into the top 400, top 200 scores of the country. And this is the basic target that you should first start with. Of course, as you start with the target, okay, I need to skill myself up from wherever I am, whether you're Shubhi's level or you're from a BTech background and you're much better at quants, whatever level you start from. If you can hit your 45s by May, June, July next year, then you shift your focus to get to 60, because you still have 4 months of preparation. And preparation structures, what happens, the preparation journey goes this way. You have a starting level in terms of your ability, right? Ability, belief, confidence, etc. And when you do a round of the portion, let's say you do round 1 of the portion, of the entire portion of quants, your skill level will definitely go up. You'll definitely reach a different level. Now, whether this is above the 99 percentile skill level or not depends on two things. One is where you started and how much growth you got. So some people might learn a lot and might be much better learners and might be able to create this in one round. Others might just reach this point. There might be still be others who might reach this point only. And there might be others, for him, even this much learning is enough because the starting level was better. But this is something that cannot be measured using a thermometer or an oximeter. कि तुम्हारा केस 1 है, कि केस 2 है, कि केस 3 है, कि केस 4 है. Which case is building in your case? Nobody can measure it. And even if you belong to case 1 and case 4, if you have reached this point, your target is to reach as close to the 100 percentile as possible. Why should you, if you reach this point after just one round of preparation and you want to reach closer to the 100 percentile, you might want to do a second round. So for everybody, what I recommend is that you do a round 2 on the entire topics, and you do a round 3 on the entire topics. So minimum plan 3 rounds of every topic and every block and every chapter. Minimum. And a 4th round might be on requirement. This is very critical for your strategy. नहीं तो क्या होता है कि वन राउंड में तुम्हारा लर्निंग हमेशा इनकम्प्लीट रहेगा. And you will also see one more thing. And जैसे Shrisha was saying कि she is able to solve 80% questions of my LOD2. If that is happening in one round, in round 1, and when you do round 1 of any topic, any chapter, it will definitely improve your ability to think in that chapter and that topic. So if you give a gap of around 15 to 30 days to 45 days, and then you say, okay, and let me study this chapter again a second time. Let's try all these questions again a second time. What will happen is that there's something which I call as the compounding effect of learning. There's something which I call as the compounding effect of learning. The compounding effect of learning happens or is created. You don't need to create it. It happens automatically when some thought goes into your mind and remains in your mind for some time. So जैसे तुम 2+2 जब पहले बार सीखे तो 2+2 में भी गलती करते थे, लेकिन जब वो थॉट तुम्हारे माइंड में 3 महीना रह गया, 6 महीना रह गया, 1 साल रह गया, 2 साल रह गया, तो 2+2, 3+11, 15+28 करने में तुम्हारा दिक्कत खत्म हो गया. बिकॉज the thought as it stayed in your mind, when it was inserted in your mind, it was not your thought. But as it stayed in your mind, it started becoming your thought. It started becoming yours. So 15 plus 28 is a thought which is there in all our minds as our thought. It's not somebody else's thought. It's something that has become our thought. And when compounding happens on a topic, and then you try to teach yourself something further on that topic, you realize that you're in a much better state to understand these things. So, as Shrisha said, she was able to solve 100% of the LOD1 questions and 80% of the LOD2 questions. If she goes into round 2, or round 2 she also picks up the LOD3 and tries to redo the LOD1 and LOD2. She redoes them. All these questions also she should redo, as well as the 20% questions which she is not able to do in the first round. She should try that again. So once that happens, when she starts doing that, what will happen is, first of all, for these questions, when you do a round 2, you will get better. Shrisha, sorry, I misinterpreted your name. So when Shrisha does this, when he does this, so for the remaining, when he does this questions on round 2, your Shrish, right? Okay, sorry for that. I was misinterpreting your name with that A. तो शीश when he does this, तो क्या होगा, इन क्वेश्चंस का थॉट प्रोसेस उसके दिमाग में और स्ट्रॉन्गर हो जाएगा. इन क्वेश्चन में उसको शॉर्टकट भी मिलने लगेंगे, बेटर रिकग्निशन हो जाएगा. और ये 20% क्वेश्चंस, बिकॉज ही इज बेटर थिंकर नाउ. राउंड 1 में ही वाज अ वर्स्ट थिंकर, राउंड 2 में ही इज बिकम अ बेटर थिंकर. ही विल स्टार्ट रियलाइजिंग दैट ये 20% क्वेश्चंस भी निकलने लगेंगे. Yeah, I'm quite sure. Especially in a digital framework, right? I am quite sure if we met somewhere, we would not have this confusion. But anyway, so ये 20% क्वेश्चन भी तुम्हारे निकलने लगेंगे. तो प्लान करो 3 राउंड का कम से कम. तो रीजन, बिकॉज यू कैंट मेजर दिस. इसको मेजर तो कर नहीं सकते हो कि तुम 99 पहुंच गए कि 98.8 पे हो कि 99.5 पे हो. You can't take a thermometer and put it in your mouth and find out. So it's not measurable. It's a estimate of your skill level based on how comfortable you're feeling, right? And the other factor is that even if you have crossed 99 percentile, there's still more learning to do. So whichever zone you belong to, you might be C4, you still plan 3 rounds of preparation. So what you should do, if you look at my Quants book, मैंने Quantsco 6 blocks में divide किया हुआ है. So the order in which I suggest you to do it is this: block 231. This should be your first target. Block 2-3 is the arithmetic part. Average, allegation, percentage. इसमें जो chapters जो हैं वो average, allegation, percentage, ratio, proportion, interest, profit and loss, time and work, time, speed, distance. ये 8 चैप्टर हैं इसमें, block 2-3 में. And then you go to block 1, and when you are visiting a chapter in round 1, a very important component is जो शीश ने किया है कि देखो कोई भी चैप्टर में जो लर्निंग प्रोसेसेस होता है, व्हाट आर द लर्निंग प्रोसेसेस इन एनी चैप्टर. एक तो हो गया कि कितना टाइम लगना है, व्हाट इज द ब्रॉड आउटलाइन. लेकिन लर्निंग प्रोसेस में देयर आर 3 काइंड्स ऑफ थिंग्स यू कैन डू in learning for any chapter. One learning that you can do is theory. The second kind of learning you can do is, and I'm very very clear about this in my mind, and this is the first thing I talk to anybody who talks to me about any preparation about CAT. Should be specifically for a week, तो जल्दी join करो. Don't wait too long. The second part is assisted problem solving. बिकॉज तुमको हो सकता है 1 राउंड एक्स्ट्रा करना पड़े क्वांट्स में स्पेसिफिकली, ठीक है. और आइडियल टाइम देखो, कैट प्रेप में 2 पार्ट होता है. थियरी, एक पोर्शन कंप्लीशन होता है और दूसरा टेस्ट टेकिंग होता है. टेस्ट टेकिंग एंड एनालिसिस एंड रीवर्किंग द बेसिक्स। एक पार्ट में तुम सिर्फ पोर्शन कवर कर रहे हो, एक पार्ट ऑफ प्रिपरेशन में, दूसरे पार्ट में टेस्ट टेकिंग, एनालिसिस एंड रिपेयर और व्हाट इज नॉट वर्किंग। तो ये करीब 4-5 महीने होने चाहिए और ये करीब 5 से 6 महीने होने चाहिए। So if you can finish this off, if you can finish your portion by April, May, so the advantage you get is that you get the complete May to November for test taking and analysis of the tests and reworking what is not working well. If you join later, suppose somebody who's joining in April, May, तो उसका cycle ये हो जाता है कि जब portion कर रहा है तभी से test start कर देना पड़ता है उसको. So portion and tests have to go simultaneously, which is not a very comfortable thing for a lot of people. So most people, what they do is they keep delaying the test to start the test in August, September, October, etc. Now that's a different question. Should I drop for CAT and working in cognizant? So it is a trade-off question in terms of the fact that if you're giving CAT, तो cognizant is not your life objective. कि तुम cognizant में काम कर रहे हो तो तुम cognizant को में ही जिंदगी बनाना चाहते हो और अपना करियर उसी में बनाना चाहते हो, लाइफ ऑब्जेक्टिव तो होगा नहीं कॉग्निसेंट, तो एक फैक्टर वो है. तो हेंस एज फार एज यू आर श्योर दैट यू विल गेट टू अ बी स्कूल, अ डिसेंट बी स्कूल एंड यू विल जॉइन, तो यू आर एनीवे गोइंग टू मूव ऑन. सो उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में यू डोंट नीड टू कंटिन्यू द जॉब. ऑल यू लूज इज 6 months ऑफ सैलरी इफ यू लूज नाउ, इफ यू लीव नाउ. बट द सेकेंड फैक्टर इज कि जुलाई 2022 तक तुम्हारा वर्क एक्सपीरियंस का काउंट किया जाएगा. तो अगर तुम्हारा वर्क एक्सपीरियंस 2 या 3 साल से नीचे है तो यू शुड आइडियली ट्राई टू वर्क टिल जुलाई नेक्स्ट ईयर, या मई जून तक भी काम कर लो, 4-5 महीने कर लो, एंड ट्राई टू मैनेज योर प्रिपरेशन अलॉन्ग विथ योर वर्क. और प्रिपरेशन अलॉन्ग विथ, देखो देयर आर 3 काइंड्स ऑफ एस्पिरेंट्स हु हैपन. 3 तरह के एस्पिरेंट्स होते हैं. एक होते हैं वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल्स, दूसरे होते हैं कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स, और थर्ड काइंड ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं, थर्ड काइंड ऑफ पीपल हु प्रिपेयर इज द सिट एट होम वैरायटी, जो घर पे बैठ के तैयारी कर रहे हैं. तो ऑब्वियसली द मैक्सिमम टाइम अवेलेबल इज विद दिस गाय एंड द मिनिमम टाइम अवेलेबल इज विद दिस गाय. So on that surface, I mean, a working professional typically cannot spend more than 20-25 hours every week because हफ्ते में 168 घंटे होते हैं, और 168 घंटे में से ऑब्वियसली 60-70 आवर्स तो तुम कुछ कर नहीं सकते हो. 100 आवर्स का काम बचता है, तो 100 आवर्स में 50-60 आवर्स तुम्हारे ऑफिस में जाएंगे, तो यू हैव अराउंड 40 आवर्स लेफ्ट. तो उस 40 hours में I cannot expect you to do more than 20 hours maybe. So 20-25 is the average you can maintain. Whereas the sit-at-home aspirant can actually maintain 60 to 70 hours. But ये जो gap 40-45 hours का दिख रहा है, ये 40-45 hours का जो gap दिख रहा है, वो gap उतना बड़ा होता नहीं है because of 2 reasons. One reason is कि ये consistently नहीं कर पाता है. 90% of the sit-at-home aspirants will not be able to do that. To drive home the advantage. So as far as you're consistent with the 20-25 hours of work, this might, on an average, you're competing against a person who's preparing for 50 hours. The second thing, of course, preference is given to people with work experience, because both you get more marks, your interview becomes easier, because your interview is mostly about what you are doing. ठीक है, तो एक प्रेफरेंस तो डायरेक्ट मार्क्स में मिलता है कि वर्क एक्सपीरियंस का इतना पॉइंट्स दे रहे हैं हम लोग. दूसरा एडवांटेज मिलता है इंटरव्यू में. इससे पूछा जाएगा तुम्हारे कॉलेज के सब्जेक्ट्स क्या हैं और क्या पढ़ते हो, एंड थियरी अबाउट द सब्जेक्ट्स. इससे पूछा जाएगा क्या कर रहे थे, क्या प्लान है लाइफ में. इससे पूछा जाएगा कि तुम्हारा काम क्या है, व्हाट डू इन वर्क. सो दैट्स हाउ द 3 वेरी. So naturally, at the interview stage, this guy has the easiest path. Try to join in January if you are joining, should be. Now, the earlier you join, the better it is. ठीक है, you can even think about December. ठीक है, December में college exams and all है, तो उसके बाद immediately join कर लेना. Anyway, coming back to this, what I was saying, इसकी एक तो 50 आवर्स ही कर पाएंगे, दूसरा इसको बड़ा चैलेंज होता है कि प्रोफाइल मैनेजमेंट का भी चैलेंज होता है कि प्रोफाइल मैनेज करो। प्रोफाइल के लिए इसको 10 से 20 घंटे हर हफ्ते निकालने पड़ते हैं, जो कि इसको नहीं करना है बिकॉज इसका प्रोफाइल बाय डिफॉल्ट मैनेज्ड है बिकॉज ही इज ऑलरेडी वर्किंग। तो उतना भी बड़ा गैप है नहीं दोनों के बीच में। तो अगर मिडिल पाथ ले रहे हो, अगर तुमको देखो, इट ऑल्सो डिपेंड्स ऑन हाउ मच यू नीड टू वर्क। कुछ लोगों को क्या होता है कि दे नीड टू डू अ लॉट ऑफ वर्क ऑन द बेसिक्स। अगर वैसा है तो मे बी वॉट यू कैन डू इज यू कैन टेक अ मिडिल पाथ कि यू कैन एंड रिमेंबर वन थिंग, they will look at your work experience till July 31st, 2022. They'll only look at your work experience till July 31st, 2022, not after that. They'll not look at your work experience after that. So if you can take your this thing, there are two things that I suggest to people who are working. One is start taking your work a little bit less seriously because anyway you're going to quit. If not here, नेक्स्ट 4 मंथ्स में के अंदर तो क्विट करोगे ही। तो डोंट बी एन आइडियल एम्प्लॉय। थोड़ा सा कट कॉर्नर्स करो, अपने बॉस को खुश करने का उतना काम मत करो बिकॉज यू आर नॉट रियली इन फॉर इंक्रीमेंट्स एक्सेट्रा, यू जस्ट एक्सटेंडिंग योर दिस थिंग। सो डोंट टेक एक्स्ट्रा प्रोजेक्ट्स, take a lower profile at work, etc. if that is possible. Try to shift the job if your job is too cumbersome and if it's too interfering. वो भी ट्राई कर सकते हो कि थोड़ा सा रिलैक्स जॉब में चले जाऊँ। सो ऑल दोस थिंग्स यू कैन ट्राई, ऑल दोस थिंग्स यू कैन वर्क ऑन दिस थिंग। और अगर आइडियली मतलब ठीक है, अगर तुम यहाँ तक होल्ड कर सकते हो जॉब को तो ठीक है, नहीं तो जनवरी फरवरी मार्च अगर 2-3 महीना ट्राई करते हो कि प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं और साथ में कर रहे हैं, नहीं हो रहा है, तो देन यू कैन से कि ओके -4 ऑन माई वर्क एक्सपीरियंस, -4 months ऑन माई वर्क एक्सपीरियंस, आई विल बी एबल टू मैनेज। एंड देन मार्च से लेके, और कैट प्रिपरेशन में क्या फुल टाइम तुमको 4-5 महीने चाहिए होता है, तो वो मार्च से लेके जुलाई तक करने के बाद अगस्त सितंबर अक्टूबर से फिर से जॉब अगर पिकअप कर लेते हो, बिकॉज उसके बाद तो तुमको वंस योर प्रिपरेशन डन, राउंड 2 राउंड 3 में उतना टाइम नहीं लगता है। राउंड 1 of everything will take you 4 to 5 months, राउंड 2 will take you maybe 2 months only, because it will be half that time. Hi Nishant, thank you so much for that. Yeah, I mean some institutes give you work experience marks right from 1 month also, SK. ठीक है, not good in maths अगर हो शशांक, as I told you, just plan to do three rounds of everything. Just plan to do 3 rounds of everything. Sure Nishant, I'm available for you all the time. And as I just mentioned, मेरा एक बैच स्टार्ट हो रहा है Unacademy Plus में। Unacademy Plus पे I teach DI and LR. So मेरा एक बैच स्टार्ट हो रहा है 24th से 9 AM. So you can, it's a DI foundation, you can come in for that. Okay, so anyway, coming back to this, block 1 is the chapters of number systems and progressions. So Pramod has a philosophical question. How does CAT preparation helps you in life? Good question. A lot of people have asked me that question. So the answer to that is, देखो CAT preparation अगर तुम ठीक से करते हो, if you don't do it the way a lot of teachers who don't understand CAT preparation talk about, अगर तुम actually ठीक से define करते हो, Pramesh, your profile is good. Your profile is good. ठीक है, यश, प्रोफाइल मैनेज करने के लिए अगर तुम कॉलेज में हो तो परसेंटेज बढ़ाओ, कॉलेज से बाहर हो तो थोड़ा सा कोर्सेज एंड सब्जेक्ट्स को पढ़ना स्टार्ट करो outside your syllabus, so that you have to build some passions and some interest that you can show across. So what is the talking about? Yeah, how does CAT preparation add value in life? So if you actually understand what CAT preparation helps you in your problem solving processes. It helps you improve your problem solving thinking. Or problem solving thinking is something which is going to be there, or which is going to be required for you throughout your life. It is not something which is this thing, because I mean ultimately in life, once you go into the corporate sector, once you start working as a professional, you will be a problem solver. ठीक है? So you'll always be a problem solver. So you'll always have to be a problem solver in terms of this thing. SK got 83.6 in 10th and 75.4 in 12th. and BTech 75.4. So very uh, very consistent performance in 12th and BTech. So I think तुम्हारा average 10th और 12th का 80% plus नहीं आ रहा है तो, and you must be a science student. Science students require 80% plus for IIM Ahmedabad to consider them. Ahmedabad will not consider you. But then there are so many other colleges. Bangalore, you have got a chance. Calcutta, you've got a good chance. XLRA, you have a chance. IIM Lucknow, you have a chance. So you've got a lot of options. So don't get too disheartened about this. So what your target should be that you do round 1 of all this. The first round of all this in the first 3-4 months. First 3 months. 12 weeks का timeline बना लो उसके लिए. जब भी start कर रहे हो week 1 to week 12 के बीच में 1 week per chapter approximately. Time speed distance will take you a little bit more time and number systems will take you a little bit more time. They might take you extra weeks. But otherwise, but that's offset by allegation which is just half a week, interest which is just half a week. Profit and loss also is not more than half a week. तो on an average 1 week per chapter रखते हो तो 12 weeks के अंदर तुम्हारा block 231 हो जाना चाहिए. And then you come to block 4 which is geometry mensuration. Come to block 4 which is geometry mensuration, coordinate geometry. Then you come to block 5 which is functions, inequalities, logs and equations. And then you come to block 6 which is permutation, combination, probability. And while you're doing block 4, 5, 6, block 4, 5, 6 of first round is another 10 weeks. 1 week per chapter. No, I don't teach Quant on Unacademy Plus. I teach DILR only there. Quant के लिए I'm not able to commit time and this thing for that, so I don't pick up Quant's courses. So 10 weeks में you'll do block 4, 5, 6 और block 4, 5, 6 करते समय you should do round 2 of block 1, 2, 3. और round 2 में क्या करना चाहिए? Round 2 में focus should be to redo the initial questions that you have done. Try the questions that you were not able to do. If required, revise the theory. And also, if required, pick up more question banks. These are the 4 things you should do. There are a lot of good teachers. I'm not into this thing. I mean, I know a few names. Bharat Gupta is there, and Lokesh Agarwal is there, and who else? I think Ravi Prakash is also there. So you can look at one of them. They are all good. ठीक है, तो क्वांट्स क्वेश्चन बैंक्स कुछ ऐड करना है तो ऐड करो. सो ये तुम्हारा राउंड 2 का काम है. एंड राउंड 2 व्हेन यू विजिट अ चैप्टर, I mean, if in one round, if you're doing one chapter per week, let's say it takes 15 hours on a chapter in the first round. The second round, the same chapter, when you reach the second round for the chapter, you spend just 5 to 7 hours in the second round of the same chapter. Because you're not doing all the theory and everything again, you're just redoing the questions. So reading questions में अगर question याद आ रहा है तो solve नहीं करोगे उसको, just देख के छोड़ दोगे. So this is your Quants this thing. So अगर तुम अभी start करते हो तो April तक ये तुम्हारा first round of round 1 of all the topics and round 2 of block 2, 3, 1. ये तुम्हारे April तक खत्म हो जाएगा. And after that the advantage will be that you are through with portion. So you still have 7 months. और 7 months में तुम multiple rounds कर सकते हो हर topic का. उससे कोई रिलेशन नहीं है यश. IIM सेट पेपर सेट कर रहा है कि कोई और सेट कर रहा है. एवरी इंस्टीट्यूट कैन गिव यू एन इजी वर्बल और टफ वर्बल. सब लोग बना सकते हैं टफ वर्बल पेपर, सब लोग बना सकते हैं टफ क्वांट्स पेपर, सब लोग बना सकते हैं टफ DILR पेपर. एक स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन हो गया कैट का, whichever IIM is doing it, they are trying to create a standardization of this thing. So I think that's an overhyped aspect of CAT prep कि कौन सा IIM सेट कर रहा है पेपर. You should be ready for all things. Don't try to second guess कि किस IIM ने क्या किया. ठीक है. And parallelly, along with what you are doing in quants, LR और DI जो है ना, इसमें तुमको करीब 200 प्लस सेट्स देखना है, 200 to 300 सेट्स ऑफ प्रैक्टिस. इसमें भी the mechanism will be, I mean I told you the mechanisms. Theory, LRDI में theory है नहीं, assisted problem solving and self problem solving. This is what I forgot to mention. Quants के हर chapter में तुम्हारा turnaround of belief and ability and confidence only happens when you solve on your own, not on assisted problem solving. Abhishek, तुम्हारा question क्या है? Complete my graduation this year. Is it enough to take 1 year drop for CAT preparation? You can, Abhishek, but try to make sure that you are working on your profile a little bit. So self problem solving is key. So every chapter in Quants needs around 200 questions of self problem solving. Some chapters like time, speed, distance, number systems, geometry might need 400, 500 questions of problem solving because they're deeper chapters. But otherwise, the thumb rule in every chapter is 200 questions. The chapters which require 400 plus are geometry, time, speed, distance, number systems, functions, equations. ये 5 चैप्टर पे तुमको थोड़ा ज़्यादा करना पड़ेगा because CAT इस पे ज़्यादा पूछता भी है. But otherwise, 200 questions on every chapter of self problem solving. So this is all building up. When you attend a class for theory, when you attend a class for a teacher showing you questions, it all builds up towards your self problem solving, where you're solving a question on your own and you're explaining it to yourself. इसको कैसे करना है. So every chapter closes with 200 questions of self problem solving. उसी तरह से DILR, you might watch 50 sets, and that's what I tell in my plus classes also. You watch 50 sets of DI, watch 50 sets of LR, and do 300 sets of DI and do 300 sets of LR on your own. So इसमें DILR के process में theory is not there. So you straight away start with assisted problem solving. The teachers will also start with assisted problem solving, and then you move to self problem solving of these many sets. ठीक है? Okay, Pritam is saying second year of graduation, what would be the right time to prepare? I think CAT-23 का preparation start कर सकते हो. You got 1 full year for CAT-22. Second year of graduation already हो तो you are eligible for CAT-22. So the best way to prepare for CAT-23 is to give CAT-22. 23, lucky Erika. If you are lucky, you don't need to ask me many things, Erika. I hope you are lucky in life. 23, commerce background, 9, 7.5. Age factor नहीं है ज़्यादा. You can enter at 24, 25 also. My book, The Equation of Success, I think it should be available on Amazon. There's a book which I had written about success, The Equation of Success. थोड़ी पुरानी अब हो गई वो. I don't talk about that much because I did not like the publishing quality of McGraw in that. But it's there, available on Amazon, Flipkart. Try कर सकते हो इसमें. तो प्रोफाइल डेवलपमेंट के लिए बेस्ट वेज आर, आई मीन द बेस्ट वे इज टू डेवलप अ कपल ऑफ पैशंस. अगर तुम कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो, गैप अगर ले रहे हो, तो बेस्ट वे इज टू डेवलप अ पैशन फॉर अ कपल ऑफ सब्जेक्ट्स एंड टॉक अबाउट दैट इन योर इंटरव्यू. राइट, दैट्स द बेस्ट वे टू डू इट, अभिषेक. ठीक है, चलो. तो दिस इज व्हाट, सो यू हैव टू this thing, and what will happen whether you're doing quants, DI or LR. One last point of advice before I wind up. Whether you're doing quants, DI or LR, one of the things you need to remember is that there will be a gap in terms of number of questions that you see and the number of questions you have done. So when you move to your self problem solving and you say that these are 300 sets I'm solving, you will not be able to solve. If the quality of the sets is good or the questions is good, you will not be able to solve all the questions. So there will be a gap between the questions you have seen and tried and the questions you have done. And this gap will depend on the difficulty level of the area, how good you are with that area, etc. So this gap can be anywhere between 20%, as Sheesh was saying. He was able to solve only 20%, 80% in LOD2, 20% he was not able to solve. For some people, I've even seen this gap to be as high as 70%. If you're not so good at that area and the questions are tough and you're going to a higher difficulty level, तो इतना भी हो सकता है. बट डोंट वरी, मतलब ये इसी के अंदर तुम्हारा ग्रोथ है, इसी के अंदर तुम्हारा सिलेक्शन है, इस जर्नी को क्रॉस करने में और खुद से क्रॉस करने में तुम्हारा वो है. देखो, टीचर्स एक्सेट्रा यू शुड यूज, but beyond a certain time. If I was a student, even if Arun Sharma was ready to teach me everything, After some time, I would tell him, please stop the noise. I want to think on my own, and I'll take as much instructions as I want, but काम तो मेरे को करना पड़ेगा. So इसके थ्रू स्ट्रगल थ्रू करो, मल्टीपल राउंड में करो. क्या होगा कि सपोज 40% का गैप है फर्स्ट राउंड में, 40% क्वेश्चन नहीं कर पाए, सेकेंड राउंड में जब आओगे तो वो गैप कम हो जाएगा, वो गैप 30% 20% पे आ जाएगा. थर्ड राउंड में आओगे, यू गेटिंग स्ट्रॉन्गर एंड स्ट्रॉन्गर बिकॉज यू आर अलाउइंग द कंपाउंडिंग इफेक्ट ऑफ लर्निंग टू टेक प्लेस. The previous thoughts have got deeper in your mind, they've become embedded, they've started to become yours. Then you will start being able to think in even further questions. So क्या होगा, 40% का gap after third round will come down to 10%. And this is not something which I'm talking experimentally to you. I've seen this happen across thousands and thousands of my own students whom I've taught over the last 20 years for CAT. So ये gap reduce 10% जब reduce हो गया तो बाकी 10% जो नहीं solve हो रहा है assisted problem solving में ले जाओ. That's okay. ठीक है, असिस्टेड प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग में ग्रोथ होता है, बट द ग्रोथ इज, आई मीन सेल्फ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग में अगर एबिलिटी का इतना ग्रोथ होता है तो असिस्टेड प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग में एबिलिटी का इतना ही ग्रोथ होगा. और बिलीफ का इतना ग्रोथ होता है अगर सेल्फ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग में, तो असिस्टेड प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग में बिलीफ का ग्रोथ कुछ नहीं होगा. एबिलिटी ग्रोथ थोड़ा बहुत होता है, बिलीफ का ग्रोथ एकदम नहीं होगा, बिकॉज तुमने खुद किया नहीं, किसी और ने करके दिखाया तुमको. और बिलीफ तभी आता है जब तुम खुद करोगे. एग्जाम में बिलीफ ही काउंट करेगा तुम्हारा. चलो, so this was what you need to do, and once you finish these processes and these numbers, try to make sure that you reach these targets by April May, ताकि जून टू अक्टूबर टाइम फ्रेम में your focus can be completely on mock tests, taking mocks and analyzing the mocks, getting back to the basics and theory, getting back to question banks on that topic, getting better at them, getting back to question banks on self problem solving, and then coming back to the mocks. तो ये जून टू अक्टूबर 5 महीने का साइकिल अगर चलाओगे विद अराउंड 40 मॉक टेस्ट एंड मे बी 10 to 15 सेक्शन टेस्ट ईच, you should be fine. This should suffice to reach you to the highest possible score that you can get. That's the whole idea. ठीक है, चलो. So I hope this is good for you, and I wish you all the best in whatever you're doing, and just make sure that, I mean, whatever happens to your results and your outcomes, don't bother so much about that. Focus on your journey and enjoy the journey, and give yourself the benefit of realizing that as far as I've done the journey well, I am okay with the results. Right? मेरे राइटिंग के साथ तुमको थोड़ा सा मेरी बातें भी सुननी पड़ेगी मोनिका. राइट? तो अगर बातें सुन के अगर राइटिंग को देखोगे तो यू विल अंडरस्टैंड. चलो, so see you guys. I'll meet you again soon on this channel. अभी के लिए I'm taking a leave. Bye bye. All the best.